It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from him. He's just gonna solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Navlet immediately comes back, like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3, so back and forth.
Hello everyone and welcome back to CGL Season 16 regular season, week 2 coming at you. In the Diamond Division, North America, it's going to be Eastern Kentucky University stepping up to Solar-Eclipse, your hosts for all the madness. It's D'Lo on the mic, joined with me here in the booth is Shadow Fang, number 2, but number 1 when it comes to all that expert analysis. We, of course, have our almighty eyes in the sky, Hippie and Headrammer, keeping the prod lights on and that cam steady. Shadow Fang, how we feeling?
I'm feeling really good, you know. I'm excited to cast another Diamond tier game. Casted one last week, went 5 maps, so hopefully we have something equivalent to that tonight, seeing the reigning 2-time champion tier Solar-Eclipse, formerly Queen of Diamonds. You know, hopefully we see a good match tonight from Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, you were telling me a little bit about our friends on Eclipse in the booth, in the green room, and how they have kind of ruled over this land with an iron fist. No diamonds in the rough. They're just diamonds in the diamond. And it's looking a bit rough if you're trying to step up against them. So hopefully our friends in Eastern Kentucky University can try to take them back to school. You know, a bit of Overwatch 2 101. We'll find out if they're able to in this 1st to 3 map. So, of course, not a marathon, not quite a sprint. You have some time to kind of get a feel for things, but the first map, it always decides that momentum and the pace.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like we're going to be going to Samoa to start off with. So, first map is just selected. It's pre-selected every single week. And then from there on, it's going to be loser picks every single map and mode type. You know, outside of control, of course. Yeah, if we get to a map 6, we'll talk about that when we get there. But you have a lot of options here after this first map, but control always very important. And another thing that's pretty important to start with is going to be the bans coming through here. And I believe it is looking like Eastern Kentucky is going to be having that first ban.
And what will they decide is the question. We'll be finding out rather short. Actually, wait, hold on a second. No, we're getting word in from the streets. It's actually Solar-Eclipse. That'll be first up. So the reigning champions also get to have a reigning look at the field and decide what they want to pluck off. Take a look through the meta. Take a look at the heroes available. What do you think needs to be struck off the mark?
This is always a tough one because map 1, you don't really know what's working yet for either team. So it's kind of just a crapshoot. It could just be something as simple as we don't want to play against this particular thing because of what we want to run out here on. So yeah, I was literally going to say Ana because I think that they're going to try and play Junker Queen. So yeah, it's like, you know, try and just get that ante out of the way early.
Yeah, with so much constant heals that a Junker Queen wants to be able to sustain, having an ante on at any moment is quite frustrating. Also being slept at any moment, not really good when you're up close and personal in the fray. Now Eastern Kentucky on their side. What are they going to take off the mark? Like you said, it's kind of difficult to know, but at the very least, you might have a bit more game tape, knowing Solar-Eclipse, having that fearsome reputation behind them. I don't know, you've been casting them for a little bit. Is there any pick that they operate particularly well on? I know that you said they have 3 of their former players still amongst their ranks.
Yeah, they operate really well on any sort of team that just has like that group up and attack sort of style. But I don't think the Tracer is a bad choice either by any means. But like I said, my prediction is potentially going to run like some sort of Junker Queen style composition, maybe a Malga. I'm not exactly sure where Malga is sitting at the moment. Could even be potentially an Orisa. There's quite a few options here, but banning the Tracer is never a bad choice, especially on Samoa. You have all these various flank angles that Tracer likes to take. Now, if you want to do that exact same strat, you're going to have to run a Soldier 76 instead. You're not getting quite the same level of effectiveness as a Tracer.
Seems like both teams then must be a bit happy with what they've taken off the mark. But like you said, we don't quite know what's going to all end up passing until we see the cards ready to be played on the table. We can see the player cards in just a moment. Eastern Kentucky University, fearsome lineup to their name, trying to knock on the doorstep of the big bads of this entire division. So hopefully these scrappy underdogs, Red, Azathoth, General High, Pancake Pants, and the Wambulance, that's a name I'm familiar with, can try to make it happen.
I mean, I gotta say, I think the back line wins the name battle out of here. Pancake Pants and Wambulance, you gotta love that one. Maybe we'll get to see some Doomfist here on Samoa. Not too sure, though. Not having the Tracer available makes me not so quite as keen to play dive comp. But with that being said, we still do have our other team, Solar-Eclipse, coming up here. And we're going to see Reverts and Burtfield on that DPS line, Cloud Lemon running that tank with Paperclip and Synarchy on that support line. And like I said, a lot of these players have won this tier before. I think some of them might have even won this tier twice, actually. So they're very familiar with what goes on here, what needs to be done to consistently win at this level. So that's going to be something difficult for Eastern Kentucky to overcome.
And, you know, you can almost tell with just literally the names, right? We talked about the backline name lineup, and you can see there's a kind of different feel. Wambulance and Paking Pants versus Synarchy and Reverts with a Z, because we don't play by the normal rules of English syntax. You could just tell that all that pedigree, all that pristine play has maybe made you a bit jaded, has maybe made you a bit apathetic, and only centered on one thing: victory. So if you're looking to try to throw Solar-Eclipse off their game, this first map, Samoa, is going to be the place to do it. Now, I gotta say, I've been rather Ilios-pilled when it comes to my latest control map cast. So what should we be expecting here from Samoa? You talked about flanks. What else we got?
Honestly, I was expecting more of like that brawly sort of play style because, well, maybe on the other maps. This map has some high grounds you can get onto and some flank angles you can take. This is specifically the map I was thinking of when I was talking about all of these various flanks you can take. So I actually really like Solar-Eclipse's comp here. You can see they're playing like for this dive, but they're going to have the cast. And Reverts is going to have to play very carefully to not just get ran on by this composition of Eastern Kentucky. Running this from Matra, you got the Soldier. A lot of mobility on that comp, especially with the Juno ring.
You do have that Soldier, like you mentioned, going to be trying to perform its best Tracer imitation. Also going to be on Pharah duty, trying to knock her out of the sky rather quickly alongside that Cole Cassidy. You have a pretty good comp of hit scans to be able to take her out. Juno can even try to do their darndest in that task, but so far Burtfield, recognizing that might be the high target in the sky, they're keeping safe around that corner.
Yeah, most definitely. Still taking some shots there. It's going to be a little difficult to get the healing off onto Burtfield. We do see the healing come through, though. And again, not really much going on. Just poke in the mid. You know?
Bit of poke applied. That's Thompson staying safe here. Guns drawn at high noon, but no ultimates available yet for either side. Instead, Lemon popped on out and squeezed from the mech. Can you make lemonade from that sour situation? No. Synarchy going to trade out for Azathoth. Burtfield goes down, and General High going to fall in combat. 2 for 2 so far across the board, but Cloud Lemon does stand strong and attempted the res. Instead, it gets reverted right back to the grayscale. Red does take them out in trade, but that was an amazing three-piece by the Cassidy.
Oh, absolutely. And you got to shout out Paperclip there, too. Yeah, prioritizing Reverts there and not letting them go down. They were very close to going down in that fight. But just recognizing that this cast is gonna carry me through this fight if I manage to just keep them upright. That's a really strong play there. Burtfield swapping off of the Pharah and going Genji. I like this pick a lot better. You got double hit scan. That Genji's gonna have a really fun time on those, or maybe not. What do I know?
That doesn't seem very fun, much so at all. This Toph takes them down. Says I can give you the Reverts treatment too. High noon's available on both sides. But who's going to look at the clock first? It is going to be Reverts. Some great heals there applied. The Suzu keeps him nice and safe, and Red is dead. Will there be redemption is the question. Wambulance does provide the annihilation on top, trying to put the backline into the ground, but can't quite find the kills, very least find space. Reverts goes down, Synarchy joins them, Kentucky going to try to unite to finally get some establishment across the point. One last bat across the back of the head, and this Lemon's going to be juiced.
A really good play from General High right there, honestly, just separating out the team. Taking away, it was either 2 or 3 players from the fight by yourself, and just allowing the rest of your team to really try and deal with that is a strong play, of course. And we're going to see this, I believe it's Tidal Burst is the name of the Wu Yang Ultimate available here. And I've seen that go on to Genji's a lot, maybe even onto this Diva. You just have a character that just goes in, there it goes right now.
Trying to knock down anyone who catches in their path. The Wambulance going to get packed up in a coffin. Synarchy is the trade overall. Not too shabby if you're on the side of Solar-Eclipse. The top rating champions are such for a reason. A quick and easy team kill. They're back on the money, back at 80%.
Eastern Kentucky is managing to trade out Synarchy pretty often here, but they're just not really able to capitalize off of it very much, you know? And it's cool if you're able to like trade a support in some capacity, but you're not dealing with this Wu Yang like whatsoever. That speed boost is just too much, and here comes the orbital ray out right now.
But around the back, Birdfield almost has an ultimate. One more shuriken, but they can't quite find the mark. Finally gets that Dragon Blade. They're going to study the way of it. Instead gets put down by the Voracious Vortex. But Astos still goes down. A High Noon drops down 2 and reverts, fans the hammer, fans the flames of Solar-Eclipse that eat through any member of Kentucky that stands in their path. They will take the first round.
I mean, all I've got to say is that's just what happens when Genji blades right there. There's very few times that you don't see something like that happen. The slow comes out, the stun comes out, just an immediate death. And there's that save I was talking about right there, getting that bit of healing onto reverts right on time, and then you see the 3K come out as a result of it. And that Tidal Burst was so good, managing to take out Wambulance immediately. And like I said, just another Genji moment right there for Birdfield.
Yeah, low-key, Paperclip never graced the kill feed in any sense. There were some moments where it was clearly them directing the plays. You called it out at the very beginning. But the fact that we never saw them grace that kill feed is actually a blessing to Solar-Eclipse. The fact that you're able to kind of blend into the background, cause so much impact, but yet no one from Eastern Kentucky is actually trying to target and bend you out of shape.
And honestly, right here, Eastern Kentucky, this feels like an overreaction to the Diva right now, going for this Zarya pick. I don't think it's necessarily a bad pick, but I also don't like, you know, like if you're going to play the Zarya, fully commit to it. You know, go Reaper. Go stuff that gets bubbled by Zarya and gets major value and is just in people's face. You know, I just don't see that here right now.
Paperclip now gracing the kill feed, but not on the side you want if you're an Eastern University fan, as they take down one member of the opposition. Reverts reverting back to their former form. All peak plays here so far from the Cassidy. And when you're playing the Ditto for Azatov, it does not feel good to see your opposition outperforming you so well.
All right, well, I do like the Reaper swap. I was talking about that a second ago. I think you should probably run a Lucio if you're going to do this, because you kind of just need to speed past Cloud Lemon and go after one of these backline players. If you just play into this Diva defense matrix, you're going to keep allowing reverts to just absolutely obliterate your team. You got to go after this Cassidy.
Red might be on the warpath for that same reason. Got those flank paths opened up, but instead we're going for the Diva. Does manage to demech her rather quickly. Use that Wraith form, maybe unnecessarily, but at the very least, General High makes good on their counter pick. Reverts, though, makes good on the Doppelganger, takes them down. High Noon can be drawn out, and that bubble will not save you. Wraith form, neither. You're going to get put down in just a second, but they can't quite make it around that corner. So Reverts, only able to stall for time. That's okay. Burtfield will pick up where they left off.
And I mean, that's exactly what I was talking about a moment ago, right? If you have a Lucio there, you can just speed onto reverts and try and do something about this cast that is just obliterating your team right now. Like, but as it is at the moment, reverts is just getting to sit at the back of the map and just free fire on all these squishy characters and just take them out very quickly. And you know, it's just I just don't like the strategy right now.
It's quite literally a solar eclipse. The moon is covering the sun, and Paperclip and Reverts are burning so brightly that it's blinding Eastern Kentucky as to what the real threat is. A Kitsune Rush comes out. Azatov falls in a hurry. Reverts does take down Pancake Pants. Burt feels the sacrifice, but that's one we're all too happy to make if the rest of the team falls down too. One more team kill for Solar Eclipse. It's already 90%.
The one good, well, I was going to say the one good thing here is that you have a grab, but there's no way you're going to be able to leave the spawn right now.
Yeah, trapped in place 5% longer. Azatov will fall as well. Cloud Lemons adopted the Zarya just to make you feel even worse about your attempt at a counter pick. Your attempt to take the first map, it's not going to go your way. Solar-Eclipse take it.
I mean, I'm going to stand by my thought there. I really think that a Lucio was needed right there from the side of Eastern Kentucky if they wanted to really have a chance of winning that. Because if you're just sitting there shooting into this D.Va defense matrix constantly, you're just giving it a lot of value, even with you having the counter pick. You're going to see Reverts getting that play of the game that we saw a little bit earlier. You can see the sort of championship pedigree, if you will, coming out from Solar-Eclipse. They're doing such a really good job of just being alive longer. I don't even know how else to put it.
That's what this game comes down to. If you're dying less, it's one of the biggest pieces of advice you can get in a game like this. Die less. And they are obliging. Paperclip and Reverts especially, I really don't think Paperclip ever saw the kill screen, ever. They managed to do such a great job at keeping safe on this pick. And it might just be because it's one that people aren't as familiar playing as. Obviously, Wu Yang being the newest addition to the cast, you're going to have a bit less experience. But what do you do if you're not going to counter pick to get past that front line? Like you said, man, Lucio, bring him in.
You have the ability to pick the character, you know what I mean? You were already playing the Kiriko. You're playing Kiriko Moira. You can swap. Either person can just swap Lucio. You don't even necessarily have to be good at Lucio. We just require the speed boost so that we can get somewhere. Because, like, for instance, when Eastern Kentucky tried to push the back line, Wu Yang just popped that little surfing ability. That's what I call it, at least. I can't remember the exact name of it. Popped that little surfing ability and is able to just completely outrun your Ramatra, just get all the way away from them immediately. That was the only time Paperclip was really vulnerable. And it felt like after that, Eastern Kentucky was just like, he's not capable. We'll just try again some other time.
It's unfortunate when you kind of throw in the towel so early. This is the time to get experimental, that first map, right? It's where you're supposed to set the rhythm. And right now you're marching to the beat of Solar-Eclipse's drum. Absolutely. They, lost a couple fights, but they would very soon after take any point that slipped out of their grasp. Their ult play was peerless. I don't think I've ever seen High Noon be successful with that high of a percent in competitive Overwatch 2 in a long time. So, again, just great work and a big kudos to Reverts for that.
Absolutely. Reverts was just noticing players that were wide swinging around corners, and as soon as you're doing that, you're leaving yourself exposed. Even with the ability to have like a mercy flight or something to that extent, you can't get somewhere fast enough for him to not be able to finish that shot off on you, and we were just seeing that happen.
Hopefully, if you're rooting for these underdogs, which, you know, you always want to see them put up a good fight, show they have a bit more bite than bark. We'll see around this next map if they can make good on that threat, and that's going to be King's Row. So maybe keeping things a bit more mobile, you know, maybe loosening up, getting the blood flowing to the legs, and a map that is certainly a lot more familiar that everyone knows, like the back and front of their palm. Maybe it's a better chance for our scrappy ones.
All right, I've already got a prediction. I think the Wu Yang ban is coming right now. That is my personal prediction.
Sure.
I don't think there's any other hero that you realistically should be banning right now outside of the Wu Yang. Yes, Reverts was doing fantastic on that cast, but it was a lot of it was just this Wu Yang just throwing out the constant little poke damage. I believe Paperclip even had the most healing that game as well on the hero. So it's like you gotta do something about that. So I would be surprised if it's anything besides the Wu Yang.
I guess you could go the Mei is like the other, like, just really. And you talked about this before, how Eastern Kentucky were looking at the D.Va as the big threat, but you believe that spook factor, that boogeyman attribution was misplaced. It seems that they're continuing to go by that logic.
Yeah, and I mean with Solar-Eclipse now, you probably at this point you just ban something that you personally find annoying. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see them ban out like a Mei or a Symmetra or just something that you find irritating, because I don't think there's anything that was really threatening you last week.
I agree. I think the Mei is a very fair call. Like, you don't want to lose to gimmicks, especially at a map with that first point where it can be rather gimmicky. But Juno instead is going to be the call. Yeah, she's annoying. She floats. She's got rocket shoes. Come back down to Earth. Who do you think you are, Moon Girl?
Yeah, I mean, that's always a fair ban. Juno, Kiriko, always fair bans. I can never argue with that logic. But with the Diva being banned, I imagine that's going to bring us back to, I'm going to guess Orisa is going to come out here from Solar-Eclipse.
Okay.
Seems like a lot of teams like running that Orisa on King's Row, especially.
Orisa, I could also see the other Omnic coming out there, the Ramatra. We saw a bit of a taste prior. Didn't really get too much, though, other than a morsel, an appetizer, even. But now we need to see the full course happen. Eastern Kentucky University up against Solar-Eclipse. Again, it's a first of 3 maps, so this one doesn't quite decide everything, but it does potentially get Solar-Eclipse to match point, and that's when the pressure really starts to mount. So if you are looking at this Eastern Kentucky University lineup, who do you really want to see step it up, put that weight on their shoulders to find themselves to victory?
I mean, I think it's got to be one of the 2 DPS players here. I get the feeling Solar-Eclipse might be opting for a Tracer this time around. So whoever is going to be checking the Tracer player here, if there is a Tracer, there might not even be a Tracer. No, there is a Tracer. Okay, Burtfield going to be running that Tracer. So I think you're looking for one of your DPS players to try and check that Tracer in some capacity. And if that can happen, that just removes so much stress from the rest of your team. The rest of your team can just look forward at that point. It's like, okay, we no longer have to worry about anything. The Tracer is out of the way. The rest of these characters all kind of like standing right in front of us, so we can just look ahead and fight.
One thing that I will say could be a big boon is that Revert seems to have taken a bit of a sabbatical, played a bit too hard, broke, or maybe at least got sore their shooting fingers. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
After that, so we got a different sharpshooter instead, the Ash, born by the Brown Man.
Yes, Cloud Lemon getting subbed out for Dixie as well on that tank role. So it could be just because Dixie is more better at the brawl tanks, if you will. We'll have to see, though.
The Bastion being picked up here by General High. Rather interesting as well, considering that they prior were on the tank. Now instead it's Azatoth who bears that mighty role. Lamp already used just to guarantee safety as they move around the corner, try to get Dominion over the health pack. Lamp shot out. Red gonna find the first blood on top of Burtfield, though. It's a good omen.
That is exactly what you wanted to see early here. Sleep going out onto General High. That is not what you want to see. Dixie managing to stay alive in the middle of all this chaos, though.
Just as soon as you say it, unfortunately, Dixie finds himself off the bench and in the middle of a caster's curse. Red will have their head. Wambulance barely able to stay alive. A great dynamite. Now got to find the snipes. Wambulance instead going to be packed up. Good work there by the Ash, but the General's going to keep them under covering fire. First point secured rather handily so far by Eastern Kentucky. The Tracer's going to try to put up a grand last stand, but the Nemesis form instantly clobbers her for it. Eastern Kentucky still alive.
And there you go. I can't say with any real certainty what happened outside of Burtfield getting taken down. And like I said, you just relieve so much pressure off of your team at that point. And I think General High, more than anything on this Bastion, is just making you unable to peak particular angles every so often. And that alone is enough value to just let your supports kind of exist for free a lot of the time.
I mean, just look at the Brown Man's perspective right there, like how much safer they have to be once that Dynamite's off cooldown. They really don't have too much to do, but now with the rest of the team drawing and fire, they can try to make some steps forward. The Pulse Bomb takes down the Lamp, and Burtfield drops down the Wambulance. Paperclip will fall and trade. The Brown Man grabs the tank, and that allows Dixie a lot more liberal space to step on forward. In fact, this Ash is leaving nothing but ashes of the rest of Eastern Kentucky University. Burtfield steps up, and Red goes down. A solid defense put up here by Eclipse.
No, absolutely. And good job from Eastern Kentucky not wasting any ultimates there.
Agreed.
They're coming up on all 5 of their ultimates here, as we can see. I think that Nano Annihilation is always a solid choice, but again, you try and deal with Burtfield as soon as you can, just so your supports aren't under a whole lot of pressure.
Double DPS ultimates working on one up. Triple anti, forced out the Wraith. Lamp already used as well. Got to make sure you're disciplined with that. Wambulance, I feel like, has been putting that out in a panic, not knowing when Burtfield has an ultimate ready. The Annihilation comes out. A purple mist blocks the Brown Man's vision. They got to back on out with the coach gun. Dixie puts up their guard to try to ensure their safety as Azatoth and Dixie both stand off. Who's going to be standing at the end of the Annihilation field? Certainly not Synarchy. They're already dead. Red around the back has got the Death Blossom ready. Not going to need it, though. A Daisy placed on the corpse of Dixie. The Brown Man is going to lose the Bob, and they're going to lose Burtfield, too. The lamps pop, but No one on Eastern Kentucky's dropped, so far a fantastic fight for the underdogs.
No, great job from them. We are seeing the Orisa come out as well from the side of Solar-Eclipse here. Burtfield going to add this Pulse Bomb online. You're going to want to watch for that, as well as Paperclip about to get up onto this sound barrier. It's going to be very important for trying to deal with the ultimates that Eastern Kentucky has in Death Blossom and the Amp Matrix in particular.
You talked about their discipline. We're already starting to see it, but now we start to let loose. So from the top, though, Burtfield drops down from the ropes, has the lamp, though, and it's not going to find a kill. So Brownman takes it out first. Wambulance is going to have their tires slashed. General High will fall. Pancake Pants gets messed up by the Ash once more. All those ultimates, but no one left alive save for the Reaper. A great defense put up there thanks to Burtfield's flank.
Honestly, that's not a terrible play from the side of Eastern Kentucky. Also, you only burn the Amp Matrix there.
True.
And again, just nobody marking Burtfield. Nobody seemed to be aware that Burtfield was directly behind them that time, right? Nobody was checking the high ground, clearing this tracer like I was talking about before. If Burtfield is cleared in that fight, you might not lose your supports to that Pulse Bomb like you did.
Also just amazing work by Brownman to take down that lamp quickly enough. The artillery strike does come down. Azatoth forced to be sheltering beneath that lamp, which will fall as well. Not too much damage applied thanks to that Bastion ult, but now we got the Nano on top of it. Dixie steps forward to try to force them all back. Eastern Kentucky, you've got to respect that space. More time being bought, only 1:40 left to grab second point.
And I feel like Red has had this Death Blossom for a very long time.
Agreed.
Too. Like at a certain point, you kind of just need to let it rip. I understand it's difficult because you are going into an Orisa that can pretty much deny this entire ultimate whenever they feel like it. So that's making it pretty difficult. And Burtfield has another Pulse Bomb online. Oh, Lord.
And now the lamp's already down, which means Pancake Pants has nothing left to protect them. That lamp discipline, I think, needs to learn from the ult discipline. Wambulance is dropping them, I feel like, off cooldown, and that's instantly a big green light for Burtfield to go ham. Paperclip, though, back on the Wu-Yang.
Yeah, doing an amazing job once again, as we see. And Eastern Kentucky just not really able to get much value since Dixie swapped onto this Orisa. It seems to be just kind of stonewalling most of what Eastern Kentucky is trying to do.
These Death Blossoms are going to grow into a Death Bouquet at some point. Finally, we start to pluck them, but instantly you get dropped for it. Maybe you should never have used the ultimate at all, Red. And now the artillery strike, or the grenade, rather, a smaller version of it, finally graces Paperclip onto the death screen, but it's a team kill at your expense. So who's really laughing now?
And I mean, that's just what happens when you hold the ultimate for so long like that. You know, the players on the other side know you have the ult because it's been so long since you used it. So what does Synarchy do? Just sit, kind of bait you into dropping off of that high ground, throw an anti on you, and then that's kind of it for you. You're lost at that point. And again, we have some good ultimates to be used here. You know, the Annihilation is online for Eastern Kentucky, but you're looking at a Terra Surge, the Tidal Burst, the Nano, the Pulse Bomb, just so much available.
This could be dangerous. Where's that lamp going to fall? The Annihilation denies any chance for them to go back in. The lamp is applied, and the Bastion tries to escape, but actually results in their own death alongside Wambulance. Pancake Pants will make for the three-piece. Burtfield's trying to go for more, but Paperclip will deny it. A team kill on top of the torrent. Eastern Kentucky drowned by the tsunami. They'll be held before second point.
And I mean, the way that we saw Solar-Eclipse playing right there, that was exactly why I thought they were going to come out on the Orisa. You can kind of see what I'm talking about, where they're really good at compositions where their tank can kind of just hold ground, be there, be a distraction, and the DPS can just kind of run around and just go for various flank angles. Like this, you know, Burtfield, that entire round was just constantly getting massive value out of every single Pulse Bomb.
And this, again, is, I think, an indication of just the veteran finesse of Solar-Eclipse. We look back at that first map, right? The Pharah didn't work out, instantly switched to that Genji for Burtfield. Here, the Ramantra not showing success. We switched to Orisa. Eastern Kentucky, though, when they're struggling, they kind of dig in their heels a bit, Shadowfang. They kind of refuse to let go of the past.
No, absolutely. They've been very adamant to just kind of stay on the composition that they're playing. And I mean, so far, from what we have seen, it seems like Eastern Kentucky is having the best time when they're mirroring more than anything else, at least on the tank role in particular. So, like, I would almost just walk out on Orisa here and just match the Orisa that Dixie has been playing.
Instead, we're just going to continue to zig where they zag. Azatoth takes up the Zarya. Not sure if that's going to see much more success. But you also have the Widow Hanzo, double snipers here from Solar-Eclipse. If the Brown Man can make it work like they were with the Ashe, I have to say it might be a bad omen for Eastern Kentucky.
You never like seeing the Widowmaker come out. You know those one-shots are brutal. And trying to duel a Widow as Cass, probably not the best idea for you there, Red. You might just want to play back and hope for the best there.
It's the Suzu in response to the ante. At the very least, you don't have to worry about lamp discipline, but Suzu discipline just as important. Wambulance finds out quickly why. Birdfield, unmarked, untethered, unlimited damage. Finds the two-piece in the back, going in for more, but that distraction's all you need for the Brown Man to make quick work of the Bastion. Pancake Pants goes down too. You get the Tracer as a consolation prize, but at that point, too little, too late.
And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of this map. One of the DPS has to mark this Tracer and has to be able to deal with said Tracer, because you saw Azatoth turn around there on that Zarya. Immediately everybody else is going to die, because Dixie is not just going to sit there and allow the opposing tank player to just run and protect their backline. No, the Orisa is going to do what Orisa does, walk forward and exist really hard and kill somebody.
Anti on top, but a Suzu is their good response. Strip some of all of that anti-healing that they would have had on, but the Brown Man instead just going to cannon kill there, shoot out Anna's other eye. Birdfield takes down Azatoth, and the Nano might just be insult to injury as the Wu Yang continues to shove water down their throats. They're being asphyxiated, they're being drowned. Someone give them some water wings. As Dixie takes down Red, follows it up onto Wambulance, a near team kill, but they'll be spared the embarrassment of that at the very least.
So we have a few ultimates available here, that Tidal Burst, the Terra Surge, and the Pulse Bomb about to be online for Birdfield for Solar-Eclipse. Eastern Kentucky, they do have their Kitsune Nano. They got the Bastion Ultimate online, but I just get the feeling they're going to over-ult this, trying to retake this fight.
So much space being guaranteed by the Orisa. She's existing very, very hard and very, very far past the point to ensure it can reach that destination. The next fight might very well be the only one Solar-Eclipse need to take to guarantee a Terra Surge on top of Suzu. Guarantees the no ante, but it can't guarantee your life. Dixie will go down at the cost of 2, a trade they're happy to make. Red is dead, Paperclip bent out of shape, Wambulance decommissioned, and Azatoth, Dunsky as well. One more team kill for Solar-Eclipse. The point will move past the intended mark, and map 2 goes their way as well.
Yeah, I mean, just really dominant fashion from Solar-Eclipse so far. Again, it's the ult usage, it's the tempo that they play with. They know what targets to go after and when to go after them, right? Like we're seeing Birdfield consistently going in the back line once the Immortality field is already out, right? We're not seeing this Tracer all over the back line when there's no chance that they're going to get a kill on somebody. No, we're seeing this Tracer back here when the entire team is already distracted from the frontline fight that's happening. So just little things like that make a huge difference, especially in like Diamonds here.
And it's also just amazing trust in your teammates. The fact that Birdfield had at one point placed a pulse bomb while Lamp was up, trusting the Brown Man to knock it down before the detonation, to me shows, again, that peerless synergy, that really just pristine play that comes forged with winning 2 championships in a row, comes forged with having known the chemistry of the person you're playing alongside for that much time. Eastern Kentucky, they've shown they've got some fight left to give, but they got to make sure that it all comes down to the next map or it's a sweep.
Absolutely, it's going to be tough. It's going to certainly be tough, but they've had their moments. They just have to not give up. And honestly, again, I really think just the easiest way to mark a Tracer is to just also play Tracer. So if they happen to have a Tracer player that can just do that, that's going to be your best bet for dealing with it, quite honestly.
You said they have the most fun when they're dittoing. Are Eastern Kentucky University still having fun right now? I hope so. You want to maintain a jovial spirit. You want to maintain a bit of whimsy, even when the chips are a bit down, because the game's not over until that fat lady sings, and you got to make sure that you're trying till the very end. You talked about at the very beginning, not only about the fact that we need to mark a Tracer, just even before we knew there was a Tracer, you said that the onus is a bit on the DPS. We need to make sure that they're firing on all cylinders, that they're getting those drops, they're getting the picks when necessary, and we'll be picking right back up after a short little break, so don't you dare go anywhere. Map 3 coming at you after this.
Lots of love. Got lots of love. 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 Love.
Hello, everyone, and welcome on back to CGL Season 16, Week 2 regular season of the NA Diamond Division, as Eastern Kentucky University try to battle their way back from a potential sweep against Solar-Eclipse, the reigning champions 2 times around in this part. And it's going to be a tough one to work their way back from. It's an uphill battle. They're down 2-0 in this first of 3. It's D-Lo behind the mic. Joining me here is my friend Shadowfang, almighty eyes in the sky, hippie and headrammer, keeping the prod lights on the cam steady. You watching at home. Shadow, you were watching those 2 maps. What do you think? How do we get back out of this?
You know, I'm not entirely sure what we can do right now. It's looking like we're gonna have to have just some magical, all of a sudden we've got this insane synergy kind of moment from Eastern Kentucky, like some Mighty Ducks type moment. But you know, we do have the map pick in, which is good, and I do have some thoughts about it. It's gonna be Dorado, and
what are your thoughts?
With it being Dorado, Eastern Kentucky used the Diva ban last map on Kings Row, which is not usually a map you play Diva on. Dorado does happen to be a map that you would play Diva on, so it's a little disappointing to me, you know, that that we didn't save that ban for this map. Eventually.
Maybe now we ban the Wu Yang, but it didn't really feel like the biggest. The Wu Yang was kind of just like a back pocket pick for when Paperclip just felt a bit bored. Yeah. So that doesn't feel great. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm also a bit disappointed in that sense. I think it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction coming out from our friends at Kentucky University. And I understand that this is a pressure point, right? You are in a scary situation. You're facing down a charging bull, but you got to stay cool, calm, collected. Solar-Eclipse say that Reaper was a bit annoying when it was actually shooting us and not using its ultimate, so they're gonna take that one off the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough, you know. May as well drop that up out of here. And then, I mean, if you're Eastern Kentucky, you know, what do you ban at this point? We haven't seen a Hazard or a Winston come out. You know, Kiriko? You ban Kiriko? Is that what you go for here? I don't know. That's going to be my guess. I'm going to say Kiriko.
Wambulance likes that pick a lot. I mean, the Juno's not banned now, so maybe Wambulance goes to Juno instead, but I've seen them play that pretty dedicatedly, not just in this season, but past seasons as well, so I'm not going to lie, I'd be surprised by it, but I'd understand it if it... I think that here's the issue, because we talked about the fact that Eastern Kentucky, they are stubborn. They're like me at Subway. You never want to change your order. You want to have it your way. I get that, but the enemy's making a sandwich too, and their sandwich is looking a lot tastier than yours right now, so you might need to change some of those ingredients. Maybe substitute that, you know, that salt and pepper sauce for Chipotle mayo instead. It's pretty good. Try it out. But they're going to ban the Orisa. Again, a lot of threat being put on these tanks.
The bans are reversed from what they should have been. Orisa should have been banned on King's Row, and because again, look at how well they were playing when Orisa was not on the field.
Yeah, the Ramatra did. It was great.
They were shoving the Ramatra of Dixie back very well, and then the Orisa comes out, and that just stonewalled you. Think about if you had banned the Orisa on King's Row, and then you can ban the Diva out on this map. You know, it's like, because Cloud Lemon, we saw how good Cloud Lemon was on that Diva map 1. Now you don't have it as an option. It's too much of a knee-jerk reaction, like you were talking about, coming out from Eastern Kentucky. They're just like, oh, this thing killed us. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna point this out right now. It looks like Reverts has come back in. Disregard that. Bertfield has not cloned himself. Bertfield has not cloned himself to come in twice. That has not occurred. That would be kind of crazy, though. You know, I've always said a million times, if you could just make 5 of me, I would be killing it at this game. But, you know, that's a different discussion.
Oh, no, it's Reverts. It's even scarier than 2 Birdfields.
and then Cloud Lemon coming back in as well. We could see the Winston come out with the Ana Brig, but as good as that Diva composition was working for them with Kiriko and the Wu Yang, I think we're just going to see that come out potentially again here. And it is looking to be that, actually.
Birdfield takes the Sim teleport up. It gives us a little sneak peek at what's probably coming up next. No, they're actually sticking by the Sim instead of going for that Tracer. The Mauga going to be potentially what we see operated by Cloud Lemon. I think they're just messing with me at this point. There it is. We can't trust Solar-Eclipse until they're actually out the gates. But yeah, Wambulance stays by that Kiriko. Pancake Pans on the Juno, which is now liberated from the ban screen. And General sticking on the DPS. Now it's red. We're just kind of passing this tank roll around.
Well, and it's another case of, I think a Lucio should be on the side of Eastern Kentucky. I guess they just don't have a Lucio player, really. Because this composition with Kiriko Lucio would be really, really good, I feel like. Or a Juno Brig. Like, you got to pick one of the 2 comps. But having the Kiriko and the Juno is just going to make it tough for both of them to build ults fast.
It's just, again, I think that they're not willing to change their order. I think maybe it's just because they don't have enough experience. Like, sometimes, even if the situation calls for this composition, you just won't have enough hours in that character, so you say, I don't feel confident enough. I'd rather just play what I know best. That's fair to you, but unfortunately you're up against one of the best gosh darn teams, if not the best gosh darn team in the entire division.
Absolutely, and we're seeing Reverts on this Junkrat landing a good bit of these directs already 50% up to this tire, which is pretty surprising.
Stinks. That's so rough, man. He's ripping the raw high noons 2-piece. You think he's not going to be able to get the kills with the tire? Already found 2 without any ult at all. Azatoth does take down Synarchy, but we've seen this story map 1. Sure, you can trade out Synarchy, but can you get anything else? Azatoth says yes, actually. Marks down Birdfield. If only that could have come just a bit earlier.
And Azatoth is landing shots, but Azatoth just isn't in position to stop like this Junkrat flank from taking out their backline. And now we're seeing a Wu Yang Lucio come out from Solar-Eclipse. And this could get a little crazy here if we start seeing some of these people get sped around the map super quickly.
Yeah, between the current surge from Paperclip and just the speed boost from Synarchy, this is going to get insane quickly. Birdfield, of course, has crazy mobility. The dive potential from Solar-Eclipse is a bit insane when you especially attach the ultimate on top from Paperclip. Birdfield positioned around this corner, just trying to play a little bit of peekaboo with you, but we do have object permanence from Azatov, so he's going to try to pursue them a little bit back. Pulse Bomb is in pocket, stuck down, but hits the maze, so General's going to be just fine.
Oof, that's like the only person you couldn't hit with that Pulse Bomb right there. Revert's still getting the trade regardless, so I'm sure Reverts isn't too upset with that outcome. I mean, just kind of running around on this Junkrat right now, just making kind of nonsense plays, quite honestly. And the cart is stopped, but I mean, you're gonna have a hard time really pinning any of these players down right now if you're Eastern Kentucky.
I'm not gonna lie, what is this Maywall stopping, right? Like, it's just Paperclip, I guess. But even so, you have movement stims that kind of just let you walk around that. It's just an easy corner to saunter around. Pancake Pants gets flattened once more. Azatov trying to position themselves for their best imitation of Reverts, vintage Reverts at the very least. But speaking of, here comes the tire. Who's it looking for? Zarya eats up with a bubble. Now what damage can follow? Birdfield and Synarchy already dead. A great opportunity for Kentucky to hold.
Absolutely. And there goes the tidal burst. Nice bubble, though, onto the Kiriko. And here comes the Deadeye out from Azatov, and I think it's just mostly going to be zoning.
Unfortunate. Reverts, you still are not. But nonetheless, on second point, Solar-Eclipse are not either. It's a lot of ultimates, though, off the mark, and still that Primal available. Going to come out right now. We're swinging these hands rated E for everyone, trying to separate Azatov from the rest of the team, but not going to succeed in finding the kill just yet. Birdfield will try to assist. Synarchy takes down Red in the meantime. The orbital laser drops down a bit too late to save them. So at the very least, no tank. Now what can you spank him with instead? Pulse Bomb is ready once more. And May is not going to be your primary target this go around. Birdfield, unfortunately, maybe he should have dropped it when they had the chance. Azatov finds the two-piece.
Azatov said, I can shoot my gun too. You know what I'm saying? Give me a couple of kills right there. Gets Reverts down to 1. And, you know, still manages to get a few there. Revert's going to swap over to that Soldier 76. So you got kind of two flanky DPS here. Birdfield going to have this Pulse Bomb online. Again, I would be watching out closely here onto Azatov in particular. Birdfield has to realize that they're doing a large majority of this damage right now and is going to want to try and take them out.
Onion ready. High ground is secured. And the Kasune Rush comes out. In response, going to be the sound barrier. High noon from Azatov. Has very little health. Kiriko keeps them upright. Reverts on their sniper's perch, trying to knock them down, recognizing them as the true threat. Graviton is ready, but the rest of the team is not coalesced around Red to assist them. The tank cannot be the first one to fall this go around. Suzu apply the background to ensure their safety. The pulse ring as well. But Pancake Pants can't stay speedily safe enough. Kitsune Rush as well. Can't do much for you, but can kill Cloud Lemon. The very least, Azatov will fall and trade. Wambulance on top. Solar-Eclipse are bleeding them dry. Red is dead once more, courtesy of one melee attack. The Blizzard comes, but it's just a calm before more storm. General High is going to be left dry as Reverts takes that last kill.
And, I mean, you had nobody that could possibly deal with Reverts that entire time. There was nothing you could do about Reverts being on that high ground. Azatov going to swap over to this Genji now to try and deal with Reverts just a little bit. Does manage to get that touch, but the cap is going to come through regardless. Probably should have just regrouped with your team, honestly, because now this is not where you want to be at if you're Eastern Kentucky.
We're seeing filtering. General High putting on that Blizzard at the very end of the fight when literally no one else was left alive was simply panic. And this May in general just not finding much for you, save for a bit of stalled time. Pancake Pants going to go down once more. Finally, General High brought down low. Red is going to join them as well. Cloud Lemon just showing anything you can do, I can do better. Are Dittos fun for you now?
No, they absolutely are. And I mean, here we go. We're seeing the Reinhardt come out from Red. I think that's honestly a solid choice. But again, it's kind of, you're focusing on the Zarya now. And Reverts is the thing that is stopping you from winning these fights right now. It's Reverts on this high ground on this Soldier 76. And who do you have that can deal with that?
Tidal Surge the Graviton as well as the Visor. Everything must go, throwing the entire kitchen sink at Eastern Kentucky, who try to unite and coalesce in the clutches of the spawn room. They're going to be sent there the hard way. Cloud Lemon packs him up in a pillowcase.
So now that Reverts has dropped off of this high ground, if you can manage to get a touch here, this is actually where it looks advantageous for the Reinhardt composition. You just have to actually get there. Cloud, but General High going down is not what you want to see.
The lasers the start. Azatov does take down Birdfield. Synarchy will fall as well. A great start. Paperclip might be the next target. Drop down to just barely anything. And that means they can't save Cloud Lemon from their fate. Reverts will fall. The high noon unnecessary, but certainly looked flashy. A good defense at the fingernail's edge of that last point. Solar-Eclipse got to do a bit more work.
I mean, I'm going to say it. If Reverts was on the high ground right there, there's no way Solar-Eclipse loses that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally the reason. It's like Reverts is on the low ground. Your soldier is now killable. My Reinhardt, my Mei, my Cass can all just run at you, and what are you going to do about that? You can't do anything about it.
Can do at the very least is count some ultimates. 1 for 1. Both supports going to have it, but that sound barrier probably going to have a lot more impact than the Kitsune Rush, especially if one is used defensively, the other offensively. Amp up. Keeping your Zarya nice and alive. That Shatter is going to be online soon. Look to Red as a key offensive force to keep the rest of the team safe. Birdfield marked, just what we wanted to see in map 2. We're finally starting to see those dividends pay off, and Reverts will fall as well.
The big rectangle man showing his value here. The Reinhardt just being able to shield Azatov long enough to move around on this Cassidy and just get these kills slowly but surely. We're seeing it right now. You cannot fall off of this high ground if you're Azatov, though. You've got to be up here with your team.
Sound barrier and the Graviton as well. The Blizzard, though, in response with the Shatter, all the CC, but maybe not layered the best way. The backline is falling apart, and Reinhardt's just trying to secure kills that they can't quite find. Azatov has been left on their lonesome. They need an adult. Red needs a morgue. Pancake Pants and General High will follow them to the grave, and Solar-Eclipse look to make good on their promise to clean sweep this up. Eastern Kentucky are going to not be able to defend that third point. At the very least, they'll have a chance on the other side.
I mean, just as I felt Reverts was doing a lot for the side of Solar-Eclipse, Azatov was doing a lot for the side of Eastern Kentucky. And you see, as soon as Azatov goes down, the rest of the team follows. And like you said, the Shatter and the Blizzard were used, but nobody picked a target. Everybody just kind of individually looked at different people, and that's not going to get it done, you know? Even if you only kill one, you've got to at least do that if you're going to pop all those ultimates like that.
The Blizzard only finding the Zarya who had already been shattered, I think, is tragic. And the Zarya didn't even die. That's really rough because it's a matter of sunk cost fallacy. I've already invested so much, so I have to surely follow the Zarya until either she's dead or I'm dead. Yeah. Sometimes you just let the CC be CC, and instead you try to control the rest of the crowd instead. Unfortunately, you didn't. You ended up dead.
I mean, it's the same issue we've seen all game. What do I keep saying? Like, it's an overreaction of Cloud Lemon. Cloud Lemon is not the thing that is like dominating you right now. That's not the thing. It might feel like it is because it's like, oh, big scary tank in front of me with big HP. No, it's the squishy characters that's really causing you this trouble right now, and Cloud Lemon is doing his job very well by making you think that he's the one that's causing the issue, and you're focusing all your attention on him.
Yeah, it's Knives Out, the red herring, Cloud Lemon. Everyone thinks that they committed the murder, but then, haha, it was Birdfield the entire time, and his evil twin, Deleaf Treb, yeah, evil twin. Solar-Eclipse, though, trying to, like the evil villains they are, stamp out the heroes' resolve and their chances at a comeback here. Birdfield lurking around the back. Who's going to mark him?
Well, we're going to have to see here. We do see General High and Azatov going with this Genji pick here, which is interesting. We mostly saw them on the cast last round.
Huh. Okay, so at the very least, we get to see them switch off. Azatov now going to be actually on this Freya as well, so very quick ult built up. Interesting that no one's trying to take the Tracer Ditto, just fearing Birdfield all too much for it. At the very least in the cast Ditto, maybe we could see a chance from General High, who on that Mei last round certainly wasn't having the most impact, and maybe on the Cole Cassidy will be a similar story as both DPS coalesce to find an instant 3-piece and 1 on top. Birdfield makes it a team kill. Everyone else from Solar-Eclipse, go home. We got it covered.
I mean, I'm just saying, now you're on a Malga. If you're Eastern Kentucky, who is laying pressure on Reverts to make Reverts potentially even miss a shot, right? Because it's significantly easier to sit up there when all you have to do is duel a character that doesn't have a pocket while you have one, right? You can do that all day if you're reverts, right? But what are you going to do if there's a Winston in your face instead?
I can tell you, it's not going to be Azatov. They got dropped the moment they try to step up to him. High Noon is going to be used to force them back and also get some decent damage onto Red that allowed Cloud Lemon to finish the job like the big scary monkey they are. Birdfield around the back. Pulse Bomb ready.
And we do see reverts go down there. Now that there is an equal pocket for Azatov, it's probably just going to be a lot of that duel going on right now. But still, I think Red needs to be on like a dive tank of some sort just to make this a thing where you're dueling for the high ground. Because right now, you're just kind of looking at each other on cart while the real DPS duel is happening across high grounds.
Nano is going to be expended. Cloud Lemon steps up. Once again, the red herring, and everyone's falling for the bait because Reverts is the real threat lurking in the shadows. General High will unfortunately fall to their machinations. And Red, sitting down at the bottom, just going to shake their fist at everyone at their penthouse suites on the top window and say, I'll get you one day.
They will certainly try to. Azatov getting that kill is exactly what you wanted to see. But again, I love the Bob on the high ground. Petty Bob is the right Bob.
I love the paperclip revive, though, even more. The fact that any single time you get this solo pick on a Reverts, it does not matter. Pulse Bomb also not going to find too much consequence, but that's A-okay. Reverts is still alive, and High Noon is ready. A minute left, and it does not seem like they're ever going to let you leave spawn. Birdfield sends General High right back, packing alongside Red.
And I mean, yeah, I think again, this is just a bad comp choice right now, right? It just, you kind of just want to be fighting, like I said, fighting over these high grounds against the Winston directly. But right now with this Ramatra, you know, again, how are you going to get up here and pressure out Reverts? You're depending on Azatov to just land really difficult shots over and over again. That's your only win con right now.
It's an awfully difficult one to find as well. Azatov going to find themselves right back in the pearly gates. General High will join them, courtesy of a raw ultimate from Reverts. No crowd control necessary. Just everyone stand in the line if you don't mind. It's a carnival game, and Reverts is about to win the biggest plushie you can imagine.
Oh, absolutely. One of them supersized ones that just looks ridiculous, but then you're like, yeah, I won this thing. I did something today. I won one of those last year at the state fair, and I was like, I cannot believe I finally made it at the age of 30. But that's actually the end of the map. So,
unfortunately, Eastern Kentucky will not make it to get one map on the board. Instead, it's a clean sweep. Nothing less than you would expect from our friends who have been the champs of the division 2 times in a row, looking to make it a third, and Reverts looking to get their second MVP of the 3 maps.
ooh.
Yuck.
I mean, yeah, that's just a prime example of Reverts knows that they have a pocket, and the other 2 people that you're fighting don't, so you kind of can just stand still and not even worry about getting hit. You've got the Mercy pocket backing you up there, so it's like it's just really smart, honestly.
Yeah, Kentucky University, they had women's jeans. You don't have pockets, or at the very least, if you do, not much space in them, sadly. Solar-Eclipse, they got plenty of room for as many kills as you can stuff in there, and 3 pieces galore. First map, third map, does not matter. I'm glad that we got to see our friend Reverts get a little bit of break between, because you know, their fingers, I'm sure, are getting so tired from clicking so much.
No, absolutely. That stuff is hard work. You know, like your hands start getting all sweaty and stuff. You start like losing your grip on stuff. Like it's a tough life.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's really hard to have grapes being fed to you and kills be just kind of delivered into your back door. But nonetheless, Eastern Kentucky, they put up a good fight. And like we mentioned, they had moments of glory. If you were to give them some battle strategy review, if you were to give them one tip to leave the day with, what do you think that would be?
Pick up somebody that plays Lucio if you don't have one.
Yeah.
I think you need a Lucio, and you need to understand how maps are played more than anything, because again, you don't play Mauga on Dorado. That just isn't a thing. You know, you play dive tanks on Dorado. That's what you play on Dorado. You maybe get away with it on third point, but even still, there's always going to be high grounds that you need to take, and we just saw Reverts time and time again just sitting on that high ground, not even really needing to do anything, because again, you're asking your hit scan to, from a lower angle, just win a duel from halfway across the map against somebody that's got the superior angle on them.
It really is interesting how the threats kind of shifted as the games progressed, right? First map we said paperclip, man. Someone's got to kill paperclip. And then we started to say, no, reverts, and the entire time Eastern Kentucky University insisted, they're like, no, it's Lemon, and we have to kill Lemon.
Yeah, and I think again, it just needs to be a better understanding of that sort of thing, because you can focus the tank when it's like a Mauga type of meta, but when it's really any other tank that you're playing, you kind of need to focus the squishy characters more often.
Nonetheless, I do want to commend them. It's tough, especially when you're batting from that bottom rung, to have to, so early in the season, try to go up against the very best. So hopefully they can learn from that experience. Hopefully they can capture a bit of that lightning in a bottle and find themselves to progress against the best of the very rest. But speaking of, we're going to be talking a little bit to our friends on the best team you've ever seen down here in the Diamond Division in just a bit. So stick around. Interview with our friends on Solar-Eclipse coming up right after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome on back to CGL Season 16 NA Diamond Division Week 2. We just got to see the results of Eastern Kentucky University. What happens when you step up to an immovable object? The planets collided and Solar-Eclipse stood up with a 3-0 sweep. I'm D-Lo, joined here in the booth with Shadowfang 2, Almighty Eyes in the Sky, Hippie, and Headrammer, keeping that cam steady. And joined with us here as well, two very special guests, our friend Paperclip and Synarchy from that championship team. Guys, how we feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
Well, you guys should be. You kind of destroyed. You kind of kicked some butt. So I've got a question to start things off. Paperclip, particular for you, we talked a lot about your impact map 1. When you are operating on the Wu Yang, what's your game plan? Are you just trying to be annoying? Do you think of yourself as kind of the central linchpin of what that comp is built around? What is the role you fulfill and what's your objective?
I'm gonna be real. I just yesterday was my first scrim playing Wu Yang, and I still don't quite know exactly how he fits into the comp. I just know that if I live, then we win. So I just play my life. That's my objective. And then if I get damaged and I get damaged, if I hit someone, I let my DPS know and they're like on it, and that's about it.
You did it beautifully.
Absolutely. And my first question is actually going to be related to how you've started to form the synergy between the new players and the old players, and what that's kind of been like, being that this is your, your third season, you're going for a three-peat, you got some old players, some new players. What's that been like incorporating all these people?
I'll chime in first. One of the things that we've definitely had a lot of trouble with, like, at the start, I know a lot of people will probably already know this from just like other smaller tournaments we've played in. We had a lot of troubles starting out. Like, there was many issues, just like the team synergy wise. We were still figuring out our bearings. But as things have kind of grown on, we've developed rosters. We've kind of got an idea of what we're doing now, and I think we're on track to definitely be contending for that three-peat. I'll say that.
All right, and I mean, just on, just continuing on with that three-peat talk there, is there any particular team in the tier that you're looking at and you're saying, hey, this could potentially be someone that we're thinking is going to be a challenger? Because, who do you think that is, basically?
Well, we played in our own kind of mini tournament in our server, and the Eclipse server was the Eclipse Summer Showdown. And I think the only two teams that beat us were Death Blossom and Rat Milkers. I think Rat Milkers is under a different name now. I don't remember.
They're not
they're not Diamond? My bad, sorry. Then, yeah, I guess I think the only team, in my opinion, that we're looking at is probably Death Blossom. Hopefully we'll get that revenge on them. Other than that, I'm hoping to have a good time, honestly.
Words of confidence. Hey, it's a good time when you're deathless on the Wuyong for sure. I imagine you were hip and hopping. You were having a jolly good old time frolicking through the corpses of all the enemies that Reverts killed. So, keeping up with that theme, you guys are the top dogs, and there's something to be said about what happens when victory kind of becomes a conclusion that you already are drawing from the beginning. Do you guys think that there is a sense of hunger that you guys still have, or is it kind of died down a little bit since you guys have raised your pedigree so much? Does the fact that you have new members bring new appetites? How are we feeling in terms of our ambition? Do we think it's at a peak, or are we kind of getting a bit settled?
I think some players definitely have the hunger. I know me, Cloud, Rev, even though we've had our time in the spotlight, we still want to get it. We want to go back there once again. And especially, I know we're kind of drawing the conclusion of like we might win, but we learned from last season when you get too high on your britches, someone will knock you down a peg, and we're trying to avoid that this season.
Wise words. Paperclip, anything to add?
No, I agree with what Sin has to say. This is like my first time technically playing. I think I was just coaching, and that's about it. I'm just excited to play.
And you're kicking butt while doing so. Guys, you performed amazingly. Before we send you on back to celebrate with the rest of the squad, any last shout-outs you guys want to give? Any words of wisdom? Any words of encouragement? Any words of thanks?
You want to go first, Sin? You can go first.
I'll say thank you to Solar, especially Cloud. Cloud's been rocking it, especially with a lot of our prep between matches, even just with these normal scheduled matches. He does not pull punches, I'll say that. No matter the team. The whole team as a whole has been working really hard ever since we had a lot of disappointing scrims, finishes in some smaller tournaments. Been working really hard to get back at it, and I'd like to thank Ghost. That man sent me a long essay about what to do. He also helped me get some final things set up before the game.
Nice.
Yes, shout out Ghost. Well, first I want to shout out our team. They've been doing such a great job. I know we kind of have like a really large roster, so I really appreciate them being flexible. I really appreciate that. Shout out to Mr. Reverts. I just kind of wanted to play with him, and they found a spot for me on the team. I really appreciate that. And I also want to shout out Texas A&M San Antonio. A lot of their Overwatch players are our coaches, and so they've kind of helped us to kind of get better. I know they played a big part last season, especially with like Schleim and David and Mikey. They played a big part. They kind of eased off this semester just because I know they're all finishing up their degrees and trying to focus on their Overwatch team, but I still really appreciate them there. And also shout out to Jokey. I miss that guy. I need him casting.
Hopefully we'll be having him back on the mic soon enough, but it's pretty cool that even if the name is Solar-Eclipse, there's still a lot of sunshine left to spread to everyone, and that is the nice Disney message that we can end things on here today. Guys, thank you very much for your time. Once again, guys, Paperclip and Synarchy are your winners for Week 2. Solar-Eclipse, everyone. Give them a nice little round of applause. Take a bow, folks, and we'll see you on later.
Thank you.
Hippie, get them out of here. Get them out of my sight. These murderers in my presence. Absolutely monstrous. Shadowfang, my friend, we've had quite the day. It's been a quick one for sure, but it's also been quite the action-packed one. Any last words you got to give the audience before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, just keep an eye out on the streams, you know. We've got EU and NA streams every day of the week from here on, at least, you know. Stuff for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So just keep an eye on that. Have your notifications turned on. Check the server as well and see whenever we're going live, and you can, you know, get some more CGL action.
Bingo. Plenty more to come at you, but as far as this broadcast goes, sadly, we're at the end of the line. Thank you very much for watching CGL Season 16 NA Diamond Division. As our friends in Week 2 Eastern Kentucky University, better luck next time up against Solar-Eclipse. A hearty congratulations. I've been D'Lo. Joined here in the booth by my friend Shadowfang 2. Please make sure to thank our production, the almighty eyes in the sky, Hippie, and Headrimmer from XYBA Productions, keeping the lights on and the cam steady. Guys, seriously, please thank our production for all they do. We could not yell at games without them. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed this series just as much as we have. Keep an eye to the sky for more CGL content coming at you every day, just like Shadow said. Until then, though, good games and good night.